Looks like we're all here. Sorry, excuse me. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The July 17, 2026 meeting of the Medford Site Plan and Architectural Commission will now come to order. Could we have roll call, please?
Yes, Mr. Bender.
Here.
Mr. Camiller.
Here.
Ms. Powell. Mr. Thomas.
Here.
Mr. Whitlock.
Here.
And Mr. Wing.
Here.
We have 5 present.
Thank you. We have a quorum. Item 20 is our consent calendar. We have none. Item number 30 is approval of the minutes from the June 26, 2026 special meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to be noted?
I did want to note for the record that there was an amended version of the minutes that was published, and so I assume it's the amended version that we're talking about.
Is that correct, Amanda? Okay. So sounds like that is the case. So with no additions or corrections to be noted, the minutes will stand as submitted. Item number 40 is oral requests and communications from the audience. This is an opportunity for members of the audience to address the commission on matters that are not on today's agenda. If you wish to speak, please come forward to the podium, sign in, tell us your name and your concern. Anybody in the audience that would like to speak to an item that is not on today's agenda? All right, seeing no one, we'll move on to item number 50, which is public hearings. If you plan to testify, please listen carefully to the following prepared statement regarding the procedural rules that govern such a hearing. The statement will be read by Garrett Ramsey, Senior Assistant City Attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I am going to explain the rules that govern these hearings. Before each hearing begins, city staff will give a report. The report will list the criteria that govern the city's decision. After the staff report, the hearing will be opened for other speakers. The applicant will speak first and may ask for rebuttal time. Following the applicant, any other interested person will be allowed to speak. Before the hearing is closed, anyone who needs more time to present evidence must ask for more time. If you ask, the hearing will be continued or the record will be kept open, and you will have at least 7 days to present additional written evidence. Any testimony, argument, or evidence you give must relate to the criteria listed in the staff report or other criteria in the comprehensive plan or land use regulations that you believe apply to the decision. If you fail to raise an issue or do not give the commission sufficient information so that the commission and any party can respond, you will not be able to appeal that issue to the Land Use Board of Appeals. If you do not raise constitutional or other issues about any proposed condition with specificity so that the commission can respond to that issue, you will not be able to bring a court action for damages.
Thank you, Mr. Ramsey. In order to proceed through today's agenda in a timely manner, except at the Commission's request, applicants giving testimony will be given 10 minutes to present their application. Individuals having comments about these applications will be given 3 or 5 minutes if representing a group or organization, and 5 minutes will be given to the applicant for rebuttal. Moving on, item 50.1 is AC-26-101, consideration of proposed multifamily development consisting of 508 units, 12 townhouse units, 8 duplex units, and 23 multi-housing buildings to be constructed in 3 phases. The overall site consists of 3 vacant parcels totaling approximately 43 acres located north of Owen Drive and east of Springbrook Road. The parcels are zoned MFR 30 and SFR 10 and CSP and CC. This includes an RZ or restricted zoning administrative mapping overlay. The applicant is Creations Northwest LLC. Agent is Creations Northwest LLC. Planner is Dustin Sievers. This applicant has requested to continue the item to August 7th, 2026. Are there any members of the audience that have come to testify on this agenda item? With that, please keep in mind that your questions may be answered at the August 7th, 2026 meeting. there will not be any decisions made today on this item. With that, I will go ahead and ask for a motion on the continuance request. Commissioner Whitlock?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would move that the commission grant applicants' request to continue this matter to August 7, 2026 at noon.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Could we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Camiller,
Yes.
Mr. Whitlock,
Yes.
Mr. Thomas.
Yes.
Mr. Wing,
Yes.
Mr. Bender.
Yes.
That's 5 yeses.
Thank you, everybody. The motion passes. Item 50.2 AC-25-240 and E-26-080. Consideration of plans for the construction of 3 apartment buildings consisting of 24 units total on 2 parcels totaling approximately 1.15 acres, located north of East Barnett Road and approximately 300 feet west of Crestbrook Road, together with an exception request to allow for parking to be located between the street and the proposed development. The development is within the CSP and MFR 20 zones. The applicant is Brent Weaver. Agent is Oregon Architecture. Planner is Stefan Roenfeld. And I believe we have a continuance request on that item. Is that correct, Kelly?
That's correct, Mr. Chair. Thank you. So I'm Kelly Aiken with your Planning Department. Yesterday afternoon, the applicant requested that this item be continued to the August 21st meeting. You'll notice in your report that staff had actually provided a split recommendation for you for either approval or denial. The staff met again with the applicant on Monday, and we are expecting a revised staff report to address the staff's concerns and to get those buildings out of the floodplain. So they did request that this item be continued to the August 21st meeting.
Okay. Great, thank you. With that, are there any members of the audience that have come to today to testify on this agenda item? All right, seeing none, we'll go ahead and entertain a motion on the continuance request. Commissioner Whitlock.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would move that the commission grant applicants' request to continue this matter to August 21, 2026 at noon.
Thank you. Have a motion. Do I have a second?
Is it 26th or 21st? I thought.
The 21st, August 21, 2026.
Oh, I thought you said August 26th.
I don't know what I said,
Did I
but
get
I
it wrong?
meant to say,
Maybe I got it wrong.
He said
Okay.
August 21st, 2026.
Okay, I got it wrong. Pardon me. Sorry.
Is that a second then?
Second. Sorry.
No worries. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Could we have roll call, please, Amanda?
Mr. Camiller,
Yes.
Mr. Wing,
Yes.
Mr. Bender,
Yes.
Mr. Whitlock,
yes.
and Mr. Thomas.
Yes.
We have 5 yeses.
The motion for continuance has passed. That concludes today's public hearings. We'll move on to item number 60, which is written communications, and we have none. Item 70 is new business. We have none, which brings us to our ever-favorite item number 80, which is a report from the planning department. Kelly, do you have anything for us?
I do, just real quickly. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just to let you know, we do have business for your next 2 meetings. So both your August meetings, that's the 7th and the 21st. And that is my report for you today.
Any business on the 26th?
2026.
Just checking.
I am a former helicopter pilot, so I do have a disability. Disability.
I have a question for Kelly, if it's possible.
Yes, please.
So, at the planning commission meeting, you said that after our last hearing that there may be a appeal?
That's correct. An appeal was not filed on the Medford Heights application that y'all had approved
Okay.
on the 26th. The appeal period ended on Tuesday on the 14th, and we did not receive an appeal. We did meet with the neighbors a couple different times.
So that was the question, was it the neighbors that were gonna
Yes,
appeal?
it would have been the neighbors that would have appealed.
So, a little bit of guidance from staff. So, and this is where I get in the gray area where, because I'm on both commissions, the planning commission basically set the stage for the development. And really, we were just supposed to make sure that it met code, right?
That's correct. That's always your
Because
responsibility.
as much as I'd like to be the very difficult one, which I am, and vote no on everything, I still think sometimes I wish that as a commission, we could do a better job of explaining the differences between certain, like, you know what I'm saying? Because I think that people feel like they get another bite at the apple, and we also want to hear them out, but that decision, that boat already sailed at planning, right?
Well, yes, actually, the ship sailed at the comprehensive plan level in that particular case. So that property has had a high-density designation. It was the applicant's choice then, because that UH, the Urban High Density Residential GLUP map designation, the comprehensive plan designation, allows our two multifamily zones, MFR 20 and MFR 30. So really, the comprehensive plan anticipated a density of 15 to 30 units. And it was the applicant's decision to apply for MFR 30, which is the higher, allows the higher density. So, but so that's the applicant's choice then, of what they propose. And then it's staff and the commission's responsibility then to determine whether or not an application meets the approval criteria. So there's only so much that the city can do to control what happens as far as development goes within the city. So, yes, there is an expectation of what will happen when the planning commission votes to zone a property at a certain level. But it really is up to the applicant then, or the developer, to propose what will work on the property, what pencils, because development is still a fiscal decision. It's not always just practical, unless I'm building a house for myself, and then it may be more of a practical question and, more of an emotional decision than a fiscal decision. Does that make sense at all?
It does. I mean, I think at planning, which was, went the way it went, but it was still a lot of discussion and a pretty close vote. The zoning had to do a lot with the infrastructure around the roads, how wide they were, could you actually put MFR 30 or all those things. But once that was already determined by the planning commission, we just, again, I'd have been good vote no on it, but I felt like that was decided at planning. Now we just need to make sure what's going there meets code.
That's correct.
Okay, all right.
That is correct. And it's the same for the planning commission.
Sure.
Does it meet the code standard? Does it meet the approval criteria? That's always the question that's before the deciding bodies. Does it meet the approval criteria?
But site and planning, can they go back and say, we think that planning was wrong with the roads next to it as part of the infrastructure, or not?
I think you can say it, but I think that if the application meets the approval criteria, I don't think we have a lot of
Because really the
options.
application isn't about that anymore.
Right.
Okay.
That's correct.
It's just, I mean, it's just it's a hard one, because I think the public, in their defense, you don't know anything until you get a sign in front of your property that says something's going to happen. And so when another sign goes up saying, hey, I know they rezoned it, but now they're going to build something, or now we can stop that, if it meets what the standards are for, then really we have to just try to make sure that is perfect, because the zoning's already been changed, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct. And I think one of the most difficult challenges that we have, and this really falls on our long-range division, is, when we write code language and the council adopts the code language, you write broadly and you apply specifically. Yeah. And I think that particular project was a very difficult site. And I think it was a challenge to design. It was a challenge for us to process. And it absolutely was a challenge for this body to make that decision on that project, because it's just a really difficult site.
I drove past it yesterday, and it's going to be a difficult thing to build, too.
Yes.
Really
Yeah.
difficult.
Well,
Yes.
I was going to say, just, from experience on previous applications, that in many cases, once the planning, or once the decision has been made at planning that indeed the site supports the the development, and in some ways that compatibility question is answered, there's very little discretion on our part to try to do that and to use some of the tools that we have at our disposal sometimes to try to, turn things one way or the other. You very quickly wind up, as I have personally, wound up in error of law to, which kind of brings things to, appeal and, everything that kind of goes along with that. So it is a pretty kind of difficult needle to thread sometimes. Commissioner Whitlock?
Thank you. I just wanted to say, I kind of share Mr. Thomas's, I guess, concern or frustration, perhaps is the right word, because the public really does not understand the limitations placed on this commission by not only the local rules that we have, the Medford Code, but also that much of the Medford Code presently is driven by state legislature decisions. And I think we did a pretty good job during the course of the Medford Heights decision of pointing that out to the public, but it doesn't change their level of frustration. And I think also, if it were possible, and I don't know what this would look like, but if it were possible to paint that picture better within the staff report, describing the limitations that the commission has, I think it might be helpful in that communication message, as well as possibly having a slide within the presentation that carefully paints the picture of the limitations that this commission faces. If we were making the decisions individually, the decisions would be a lot different if we had the discretion to do so, but most of that discretion has been removed through state legislative restrictions. So again, I think it might be helpful if somehow we could communicate that limited level of discretion and decision-making that this commission has in the staff report and in the presentation before the public.
Indeed.
If I could
Please,
just
Cal.
follow up on that real
Yeah.
quickly. So y'all are aware, the legislature in this recent session passed a bill, I think it's 4037 is its number, and it further further removes the local authority. It makes things like zone changes type 2s, which will be not require a public hearing any longer, and some other more high level, I would call them, type 3, public hearing processes. It also will remove the ability for anybody but applicants to appeal decisions on housing applications. So yes, wow. So that was effective July 1. So we'll be seeing some code changes coming soon through your Planning Commission and City Council. So goal one is citizen involvement for the statewide planning program, and it's further being eroded, and it's really unfortunate. I understand the need and the desire to provide housing for our residents in the state of Oregon, but at what cost? And that's the end of my opining for you today.
Very quickly, I attended a conference recently, the Oregon City Attorneys Association conference, where some of those changes to the state laws relating to housing were discussed. The one that I found most surprising was that they're imposing restrictions on who receives notice in some cases for these hearings. And so it's almost an outright hostility to public participation in these hearings. I think because of what this commission has experienced recently, there's this disconnect of the audience expects a certain level of input and control over the decision, and the law doesn't really allow that. So now we're trying to stop the audience from even having input in the first place, basically. And it's not going to make people happy, I don't think.
So am I to understand that the inspiration behind these legislative changes is a sense that the overriding importance of getting new housing built as fast as possible and trying to clear the way for, some of the, I guess they perceived hiccups that were being put into place. I mean, from everything I'm hearing, just in the description here, it sounds like essentially going against kind of the transparency that the state of Oregon has long been noted for and commended for, and kind of backing away from that. Am I understanding this correctly?
That's how I understand it, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else have anything they'd like to add?
Jeff, I'm just curious.
Yeah.
This Jeff.
Oh,
Of the folks that testified at the last meeting on that issue, how many of them testified at the planning for zoning? Because,
I would say a lot of them did, but.
Oh, they
I
did,
was-
okay.
But I
Well,
was
that's
surprised
good.
how many didn't. So we had a lot of new people, I'm sorry. It seemed like we had a lot of new folks as well. And so, as much as I'm saying, I wish we could explain it better, the worst thing you can do when you live in a community is tell your fellow people that you live with in the community that they have no right to come and speak to you. Because what's the point of commissions at that point? And it's been a long time since we had transparency in this state, as you know. It's been a minute.
yeah,
So it's, but I think, the problem as I see it is that we desperately need more available and affordable housing. It's both. But we always want to attack community involvement when really a lot of the hurdles are all the regulations that
All
the
the
state puts on it.
restrictions,
Oh,
yeah.
we're not going to let you come speak about what we're going to do there, but we're going to put all these regulations in place to make it more difficult. Because I'm sure people that are involved in, like Jeff here, I'm sure he could tell you all day long that they could build a whole lot more if they had just fewer regulations.
I don't necessarily disagree, but I find the more significant issue with housing is actually affordability. I mean, that's not to say that the regulatory environment does not have costs associated with it, that it imposes on specific projects. From being an erstwhile developer as well as a designer, some of the city stuff is easy. The regulatory work is in some ways pretty easy. It's the capital environment that tends to have as much or more difficulty in it, but I don't need to expound on economics in that in that regard. Anyone else? Great discussion. With that, I guess we can move on. Item number 90 is messages and papers from the chair. I don't have anything today. Propositions and remarks from the commission. Anyone? Commissioner Whitlock.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just very quickly, again, I want to appreciate the excellent quality of the minutes that are being produced by staff. Very helpful. And I think the level of detail is appreciated by the public if they should happen to look at the minutes to see what sort of the conversations were going on. The legal requirement is simply that you say what the subject is and you say what the vote is. And our minutes go far beyond that. And I think it's a very good thing for that transparency element that Hal was just talking about. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Absolutely. Anyone else? All right, with that, we move to item 110, which is adjournment, and we will be adjourned. I don't know, I don't like that one. Yeah.